So McLeod Ganj, a suburb in the north of Dharamshala, is the adopted home of the Dalai Lama and the Tibetan government in exile. As a result, there's a large Tibetan community in the town, with the place being known casually as Little Lhasa, after the capital of Tibet. This one morning, I woke up and I was in a bit of a hurry. So you see, the Dalai Lama had actually been away for some time in Delhi and was due back in Dharamshala on this morning. Now for me, there was only one problem. He was arriving earlier than I originally expected. Now, as the car got further up the hill towards the Dalai Lama's monastery, you could see the crowds lining the streets, and the excitement was building and building as people waited eagerly for his arrival. So I've actually just missed the Dalai Lama's arrival by just a couple of minutes. I actually woke up this morning and there were ants in one of my shoes, which took me a good sort of like 15-20 minutes to sort out. I don't even know if I got them all out, to be honest with you, so perhaps that cost me a little bit. So I guess, yeah, thank you so much to the ants this morning. However, the good thing was that the people from the local community who had got out of bed early enough, they definitely got the chance to welcome him. So the Dalai Lama is the spiritual leader of Tibet and is a hugely important figure for this community. So it's really important to understand why he's based here in India and not back home in Tibet. Today, Tibet itself is governed as an autonomous region of China, but it has been an independent state in the past, led by the Dalai Lama. In 1950, Chinese troops marched into Tibet, and after a decade of simmering tensions, in 1959, the Chinese army fired upon the Dalai Lama's summer palace in reaction to protests from local people. Believing his life was in danger, the Dalai Lama fled across the Himalayas, where he was given refuge in India, eventually establishing his new home here in McLeod Ganj, Dharamshala. Even to this day, many Tibetans have followed in his footsteps, choosing to escape Tibet and settle here in Dharamshala.
Why we consider him as a great spiritual leader is because from the very young age, he took responsibility of our nation, also to the whole world, to promote peace. I'm Tashi Somo, I'm from Tibet. Currently, I'm living in Dharamshala. I came here at the age of 3 something. We all know that it's because of the situation back then in Tibet. It wasn't that good, so we came here mainly for the study purpose and then to be His Holiness follower so that we can stay close to him and get his blessing.
So I had the opportunity to speak to Tashi Tsomo, who is an office manager for the La Charitable Trust, which is a wonderful organisation which is set up to help the Tibetan community in a variety of ways. Now, one of the more sort of obvious questions I had for Tasha was how she felt about herself and the Tibetan community having to live in exile here in Dharamshala.
We are feeling, or we felt sad that we have had to leave our country, but after coming here, I don't think we should feel sad, because I think mostly our Tibetans, brothers and sisters, they feel like peaceful inside living around Dharamshala. Mostly other Tibetans who are residing here, mostly they are like doing Tibetan business, like selling jewelries, and all the other stuff. Because of His Holiness is here, we consider this small town as Little Lhasa.
Now, one of the things that you can actually do when you're in McLeod Ganj is you can visit the Dalai Lama's temple itself, and it's great. You know, inside was like a hive of activity, and I got the pretty special opportunity to see monks in prayer, but arguably the best bit was right after the prayer. It was time for lunch. All of a sudden, all of the monks were out in the courtyard, plates in hand, and they were receiving their lunch from others served out of buckets. And it got even better when I realised that they were dishing out food to the visitors as well, and someone looked over to me and shouted, a plate, get a plate. So it was just one of those moments again where I was kind of really grateful for the hospitality that I've received on this trip. So Dharamshala is actually located at the foot of the outer Himalayas. So one of the things that you absolutely have to do when you get here is go and see them. So up really early this morning with the birds to do a full day of trekking. It's something that really can't be missed when you're here. So hopefully it should be a really good day.
Dharamshala is a famous for trekking. People always saying it's most beautiful I ever seen in my life. It's just life-changing moment actually. If you've not done this, it's worthless you come Dharamshala actually. So my name is basically Avinash Kapoor and I am from Dharamshala. I am basically the professional trekking guide and I loved trekking actually.
So the route that I was taking was first going to a place called Triund, which is a few hours hike north of Dharamshala, before pushing even further into the mountains to a place called the Snow Line, which is virtually impossible to reach during the winter months because of, well, snow. So to reach the actual starting point for the trek, Avinash and I had to take a short drive in what was probably the most inappropriate car for mountain roads that the world has ever seen. Actually, at one point, the winder for bringing the window up and down actually fell off due to all of the shaking in the car. It's from the door. Yeah. But, you know, we made it in one piece, and that's all that really matters. So the trek is actually starting from here, this small temple. I can't help but feel like the car journey up here did more physical damage to me than any hiking would have done. However, quite clearly I was speaking too soon, and before I knew it, Avinash had his rocket heels on and was flying up the mountain, and I was somewhere behind him, finding it quite difficult to keep up. When we were a few hours in, Avinash and I actually bumped into a shepherd who gave us a little job to do. Hey. He's a handsome guy. You're gonna make me step over you? Walking through the goats. And what happened next was something truly remarkable. Oh my god! Go back. Okay. So I had absolutely no idea that this was going to happen, but the shepherd had asked Avinash to release the baby goats from the cave where they'd been kept overnight, because they're kept there in order to protect them from predators, and are then released again in the morning. That was so unexpected. It was a really kind of magical one-off experience, I have to say. This wasn't to be the only time that we bumped into a shepherd either on this trip, as later on we walked with another who was taking his herd down the mountain as the cloud was rolling in.
Traditionally, this route was created by, the people of shepherds. They mostly are belonging to the Gadi tribe of shepherds. They just like a nomad type in nature. They goes with they move around with just a season. Like if summer, then come to the mountains, and the winter is coming, they goes to the ground part of the Kangra Valley actually.
So, buoyed by the energy or whatever it was that those baby goats had given us, we pressed on higher up the mountain and were soon at Triund, where the views were just incredible, before pushing on those last few kilometers to get us to the snow line. So just reached the top of our trek, which is here at the snow line, and it is genuinely indescribable. The clouds have kind of moved in now. You can see if I spin it round, like it's pretty cloudy. It has been a truly remarkable trek. It's been an incredible experience. Something that I will genuinely remember for the rest of my life. So, if you do ever get the chance to come to Dharamshala, remember that you must come trekking. Otherwise, what's the point?